Welcome to Conspiracy Q. Each week, we take on a new top-secret investigation into the most shocking and wild theories out there. This week, we're looking at, well, this is big, it's predictive programming.
The idea that the things we watch and listen to aren't just entertainment, but something much, much darker.
You know, our listeners sent in some recently uncovered or classified sources, and they're all centered on this really unsettling idea of predictive programming. So we're calling this one the Predictive Programming Dossier.
I like it.
So the core idea, basically, is that the media we consume, it's not just fun and games, you know?
Right.
This dossier claims it's like a deliberate tool.
Used by shadowy figures, you know, those pulling the strings behind the curtain.
Yeah.
The architects, the shadow government, the global elite, whatever you want to call them.
All those names, the dossier uses all of them, which is really interesting.
But they're all basically saying the same thing.
Yeah.
That there are these powerful groups using media to subtly plant ideas and societal shifts into our subconscious.
Like, it's almost like brainwashing.
You could say that.
That the goal, ultimately, is to normalize, to make us okay with concepts that, if they just popped up out of nowhere, we'd resist.
Absolutely.
And that's the disturbing part, right?
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. If we've already seen something play out in a movie or a TV show, then when it happens in real life,
Yeah.
it's not so shocking.
Not so crazy, right?
Exactly.
And we just accept it.
It's a way of softening the blow, so to speak, reducing resistance to whatever agenda these shadowy figures are trying to push.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy when you think about it that way.
It is.
But we've got to dive into the actual examples, right?
But into it.
Let's see what this dossier is really claiming. Okay, so the first argument this dossier lays out is, they call it the sheer volume of coincidences defies probability.
So basically, too many weird things have happened to just be random chance.
Exactly.
Like, what are the odds, you know?
Yeah, and they jump right into 9/11.
Right. That's the first example in the dossier. Yeah.
And I gotta say, some of this stuff is just, like, really unsettling.
Understandably so.
Yeah.
It's a sensitive topic.
Yeah.
And it's one that a lot of people have looked to for evidence of this predictive programming.
It makes you wonder, like, was this all planned out in advance? You know?
Well, let's take a look at what the dossier says.
Okay, so they start with, of all things, The Simpsons.
The Simpsons.
Yeah.
The cartoon.
Yeah, there's this episode from 1997,
Okay.
The City of New York versus Homer Simpson.
Right. I remember that one.
There's a brochure they show with $9 next to the Twin Towers, and it looks like 9/11.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and there's another scene where Lisa's holding a magazine,
Okay.
and it says New York on it, and the towers are like framing this $9.
That is kind of strange, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, on their own, you could like write them off as just random, you know?
Yeah, like a coincidence. A funny little visual quirk.
But like the dossier's point is, are they really just coincidences when you start to see so many of these things?
Right.
So then they bring up The Lone Gunman,
Yes.
the X-Files spin-off show.
Yeah.
This one's even weirder. The pilot episode, it aired in March 2001, and the plot, get this, it involves a hijacked plane, a commercial airliner being flown into the World Trade Center.
Wow.
But here's the thing. It's not terrorists in the show.
Okay.
It's like this rogue government faction that does it.
As a false flag operation.
Exactly, to boost the military budget.
That is chillingly close to, well, you know.
Yeah, it's almost too specific to just brush it off.
It definitely makes you wonder.
I mean, is it possible someone knew something?
I mean, of course, the World Trade Center had already been targeted in '93.
That's true.
So maybe it was already on people's minds as, you know, a potential target, even in fiction.
Yeah, maybe. But then there's all this other stuff the dossier brings up, like album covers.
Album covers.
Yeah, like the Coos Party Music album.
Okay.
The cover art was designed in May of 2001.
So before
9/11. And it shows the World Trade Center exploding.
Right.
And then there's Dream Theater.
Oh, yeah.
Their album, Live Scenes from New York, it was released on September 11th, 2001.
On the day of the attacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the cover, it has the New York skyline, but the towers are engulfed in flames. And then the dossier even mentions comic books.
Really?
There's Uncanny X-Men number 268.
Okay.
It shows a lot of destruction. And it's happening near the Twin Towers. And then there's the video game Deus Ex.
I've heard of that one.
It came out in 2000, a year before.
Right.
And in the game, the Twin Towers aren't even there.
So they're just missing from the skyline.
Yeah, and the explanation in the game is that, like, terrorists destroyed them.
That's pretty wild.
So, I mean, what's going on here?
I mean, you can see why people find this stuff so compelling.
Yeah, it's like way too many weird connections.
Especially when you consider how sensitive and, well, how impactful that event was.
Yeah.
But, I'm sure some people would just say it's coincidence.
Yeah, like they'd say, oh, it's just random or whatever.
Right, they'd say people are looking for patterns where there aren't any after the fact.
Yeah, like we're just hyper aware of it now, so we see it everywhere.
Exactly.
Hindsight bias, right.
Exactly.
But the dossier doesn't just stop there.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah, they move on to pandemics.
That's even more relevant these days, don't you think?
Yeah, especially after the last few years.
Makes you think, huh?
It does.
So what does the dossier say about pandemics?
Okay, so first up, they talk about the movie Contagion.
I remember that one.
Came out in 2011.
Yeah.
Pretty good movie, actually.
It was well made.
But it's pretty freaky when you think about it now.
Why is that?
The plot, it's like way too similar to what happened with COVID.
Really?
Yeah, like there's this new virus and it comes from bats.
Okay, I remember that part.
And then it just spreads like all over the globe super fast. Lockdowns, social breakdown, the race for a vaccine.
It's all there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty much exactly how it all went down, which is just like weird.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit eerie to watch it now, knowing what we know.
I mean, was it like a warning? Or were they trying to like get us used to the idea of a pandemic?
Like a question a lot of people have asked.
Yeah.
Was it just a coincidence or was there something more deliberate going on?
Then there's Event 201.
What was that?
Oh, this was like this pandemic simulation thing that happened in October of 2019.
2019?
Yeah, like just a couple months before,
Before COVID?
Right.
Wow.
It was a high-level exercise, involved Johns Hopkins.
Johns Hopkins?
Yeah, the World Economic Forum.
The WEF?
And the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Big names.
Yeah, and they were basically like modeling a fictional coronavirus pandemic.
A coronavirus pandemic?
Ooh.
Before the actual coronavirus pandemic?
I know, right? It's just too much of a coincidence for some people.
I can see why.
It makes you wonder if it was like a final rehearsal or something.
Yeah, I mean, pandemic preparedness exercises aren't, unheard of.
Yeah, I guess not.
Public health organizations, they do simulations all the time.
Yeah.
For all sorts of potential crises.
Right.
But the timing of this one and how closely it mirrored what actually happened with COVID, well, it's definitely raised some eyebrows.
Yeah, for sure.
The dossier kind of implies that maybe, just maybe, certain people were in the know.
Yeah.
Or even, shaping events.
Like it wasn't just a coincidence.
Right.
This dossier also brings up a British show.
Okay.
It's called Utopia.
Utopia. Never heard of it.
It ran from like 2013 to 2014.
Okay.
And the plot involves like a pandemic, but this one is a little darker. It's like engineered by this shady organization.
Engineered,
yeah.
As in they created it on purpose.
Exactly, and they push a vaccine.
Okay.
But the vaccine's not what it seems.
Of course not.
It's actually part of this like depopulation scheme.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty intense, right?
Definitely a bit more out there.
Yeah, but the dossier's point is that even though it's fiction, it could have still like planted these seeds of distrust.
Right.
Like when the real pandemic hit, people might have been more likely to question the official narrative.
That's interesting.
Because they'd already seen this idea play out, even if it was in this fictional kind of exaggerated way.
Yeah, it makes you wonder how much fiction actually shapes our real world perceptions.
Yeah, it's kind of scary, right?
It is.
Okay, but like there's more.
Oh, there's even more in this dossier.
Yeah.
Wow, they really went deep on this.
They did. And this part is all about technology and social conditioning.
Oh, that certainly feels relevant.
Yeah.
I mean, technology is changing so fast these days.
It is. And this dossier brings up some movies that like really predicted where we're at now.
Which ones?
Minority Report.
Oh, yeah.
That was from 2002.
Pretty futuristic for the time.
It was. And it showed all this stuff about like mass surveillance.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Biometric identification, personalized ads, like all this stuff that's like totally normal now.
It's everywhere.
It is. And then there's Enemy of the State.
Will Smith.
Yeah.
Good movie.
This one was from 1998.
Good.
And it's all about like the government spying on people and how technology makes it so easy to like track everyone and invade our privacy.
Yeah, that was a big theme in that one.
Yeah, and again, it's like they were showing us exactly where things were headed.
It's kind of like they were warning us.
Yeah, or maybe like getting us used to the idea.
So we wouldn't resist it as much when it actually happened.
Right. It's creepy.
It is a bit, yeah.
Okay, but it gets even deeper.
Deeper? How is that even possible?
The dossier, it even brings up some classic books.
Classic books? Like what?
1984.
Oh, wow.
By George Orwell.
I read that one in high school.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And then Brave New World.
By Aldous Huxley.
Yeah.
Another classic.
The dossier argues these books, they weren't just like fiction.
What do you mean?
Like they were blueprints.
Blueprints for what?
For how to control society.
That's an interesting take.
Like think about 1984 with Big Brother and the Thought Police.
Always watching, always listening.
Yeah, and then there's Newspeak, you know, how they control language.
To control thought.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The dossier is saying that all of that, it's happening now.
Wow.
Like we have surveillance states.
Everywhere you go, there's cameras.
Yeah, and social media, it's like manipulating how we think and talk.
Yeah, you see the parallels.
And Brave New World.
What about that one?
It talks about like controlling people through pleasure and distraction.
Keeping them happy and complacent.
Yeah.
With their soma.
Right.
So is the dossier saying that our modern entertainment, our social media,
yeah,
is it like our soma?
It's exactly what they're saying.
That's a pretty unsettling thought.
It is.
And that's not all. There's more.
There's one more thing in this section.
Okay.
Transhumanism.
Transhumanism.
And artificial intelligence.
AI.
The dossier basically says, look at all the sci-fi movies and books out there.
Okay.
They all show AI taking over, robots merging with humans, virtual reality, the metaverse, all of it.
Right.
And they're asking, are these stories just entertainment?
Or are they preparing us for something?
Exactly. Like, are they normalizing these ideas so when they actually start happening, we won't be so freaked out?
I mean, some people are already pretty freaked out about AI.
I know, right?
But it's true that sci-fi has been exploring these themes for decades.
Yeah, but it's getting more and more realistic, don't you think?
It is.
Like, it's not so sci-fi anymore.
It's becoming our reality.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's the first part of the dossier.
It's a lot to take in.
It is.
But there's more?
Wait, there's a whole other part to this.
Yeah, the dossier, it also talks about symbolism and creator intent.
Symbolism, huh?
Yeah.
Like hidden messages in the media.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So they point out that you see certain symbols, like, all the time.
Okay, like what kind of symbols?
Pyramids, the all-seeing eye, Masonic checkerboards, and specific numbers like 33 or 11.
Ooh, like the Illuminati stuff.
Yeah, and they claim it's not just random.
Okay.
Like, it's a code.
A code.
Yeah, a way for, like, the people in the know to communicate with each other.
To signal their involvement.
Right.
That's pretty out there.
Yeah, but, you know, they also bring up those cryptic comments that creators sometimes make.
Oh, you mean like when they say their work is reflecting the times or something?
Yeah.
Or like they joke about knowing the future?
Exactly.
Yeah, I've heard that kind of thing before.
And the dossier, it's saying that those comments, they're not just like off-the-cuff remarks.
So they're more than just like casual statements.
Yeah, like they're hints.
Hints about what?
About their involvement in this whole predictive programming thing.
Like they're secretly admitting to it.
Right.
I see.
Yeah. And then there's the whole, like, it's just fiction argument.
Oh, right. The idea that it's all just harmless entertainment.
Yeah, but the dossier, it flips that on its head.
How so?
They say that by dismissing it as just fiction.
Yeah.
We're actually, like, letting the programming work.
I see what you mean.
Like, we're not thinking critically about it.
Because we're not taking it seriously.
Exactly.
So it just slips right past our defenses.
And into our subconscious,
Yeah.
where it can, like, do its work.
That's pretty clever, if you think about it.
Yeah, and then when these things happen in real life, it's almost like we've already been prepared for it.
Yeah, so we don't react as strongly.
We just kind of accept it.
As if it's normal.
Exactly.
Okay, this is getting really deep.
It is, but there's one more argument in this dossier.
Okay, lay it on me.
It's called Things That Don't Add Up and the Suppression.
Sounds ominous.
It is. So they start by talking about, like, timing.
Okay, timing of what?
The timing of all these, like, predictions.
You mean how they seem to happen right before big events?
Exactly. Like, is it really just coincidence?
That so many creatives just happen to be thinking about the same things that are being discussed, like in secret government meetings.
Yeah, it seems kind of suspicious, right?
It does make you wonder.
And then there's the specificity.
Specificity.
Yeah, like the dossier makes a distinction between general predictions,
Okay.
like just a movie about a future pandemic or whatever.
Yeah.
And then predictions that are super specific.
Specific how?
But, like, they get details right.
Like what kind of details?
Like the attack in the lone gunman.
Oh, right.
Or how the virus spreads in Contagion.
Right.
Those details, like, lined up almost perfectly with what actually happened.
Yeah. That is pretty strange.
The dossier is asking, how could they know that stuff in advance?
Unless they were told.
Right.
I mean, that's the big question for a lot of people, right?
It is.
When things get too specific, it starts to feel like more than just a coincidence. Like maybe somebody had some inside information.
Yeah.
Or, was even influencing things behind the scenes.
Right.
Okay, so what else does the dossier say?
Well, this is where it gets kind of dark.
Okay, I'm ready.
They talk about, like, the suppression of information.
Suppression.
Yeah, they claim that people who try to investigate this stuff...
Addictive programming.
Yeah, they get ridiculed.
Okay.
Like, nobody takes them seriously.
So their research gets ignored.
Exactly, and there's, like, no funding for it.
Nobody wants to touch it.
Right, and they get labeled as, like, conspiracy theorists.
Which basically shuts down the conversation.
Exactly.
Nobody wants to be associated with that.
And the dossier is saying that all of this, it's deliberate.
Deliberate how?
Like, it's a way to keep this stuff hidden.
To make sure nobody digs too deep.
Right.
That's pretty disturbing, if true.
Yeah, it is.
So what's the motive?
That's the last thing the dossier covers.
Okay, so who benefits from all of this?
They lay out a few possibilities.
All right, let's hear them.
First one is control.
Control!
Yeah, like if they can control what we see and hear, they can control how we think.
Make us more accepting of things we might normally resist.
Exactly, like more surveillance.
Less privacy.
Right, and if we've already seen it in movies and TV shows, it doesn't seem so bad when it happens in real life.
It's already familiar.
Exactly.
Okay, what else?
Agenda rollout.
Agenda rollout.
Like they're using predictive programming to prepare us for like big changes.
Big changes like what?
Like AI taking over.
Okay.
Or transhumanism, merging with machines.
Right.
Or even like drastic climate change measures. If they show us these things in movies and TV shows, it makes them seem more like inevitable.
Or even desirable.
Exactly. And then we're less likely to fight back when they actually happen.
It's all about getting us ready for the future they want.
Yeah.
Okay. What other motives do they list?
Desensitization.
Desensitization.
Yeah, like we see so much violence and disaster in movies and TV that when it happens in real life, we're just like numb to it.
Like we've seen it all before.
Exactly. So we don't get as upset. We don't demand change.
It's like we're becoming immune to the shock.
Yeah, which is exactly what they want.
Mm.
And then the last one is manufacturing consent.
Manufacturing consent.
Yeah, like using media to shape our opinions.
To make us support certain things.
Exactly, like political ideologies or economic systems.
Or even specific wars.
Yeah.
So they're not just controlling what we think about, they're controlling what we think.
Exactly.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's it.
That's the whole dossier.
That's the whole thing.
Wow, that was a lot.
It's a lot to process,
It really is.
But it's important to think about.
Absolutely.
I mean, is it all just coincidence?
Or is there something more going on?
Are we really in control of our own thoughts and beliefs?
Or are we being manipulated?
That's what this top secret investigation is all about. And we want to know what you think.
Yeah, what stood out to you?
What seemed really compelling, or what did you just, totally dismiss?
Were there any connections that really made you think?
I mean, the sheer volume of these predictions and how specific some of them were.
Yeah, it's hard to ignore.
It is, and it makes you wonder, could it all really be random chance?
Or is there something more at play here?
Something we're not supposed to see.
Something hidden beneath the surface of our entertainment.
That's what we want you to consider.
Because this is just the beginning of our top secret investigation.
And the questions it raises.
Well, there's something to keep in mind.
As you navigate the world around you.
Think about the media you consume.
The movies you watch, the shows you binge.
The music you listen to.
The books you read.
Are they just entertainment?
Or are they something more?
Something that might be shaping your thoughts and beliefs.
Without you even realizing it.
So stay vigilant.
Stay informed.
And most importantly,
keep questioning everything.
And don't forget to rate and follow Conspiracy Q to share the truth.